Hey there, it's Bree Drake of Tailswell, and welcome to the YouTube channel. My plans for this YouTube channel are to post a little more lengthy videos, some longer format videos that serve as supplementary information to what I'm posting on Instagram. So obviously in today's world, people like information, just like little bite-sized chunks. They want everything so fast, everyone's busy and they don't have a lot of time. So on Instagram, I'm gonna make some shorter reels that cover topics at a very high level view, and then I'll go into some detail in the captions, but then these videos on YouTube will serve as, that if you're like me, you just want to dive more into the info. You get so excited and so passionate about it. You want to learn more. So for those of you who are like me, or those of you who maybe see a video on Instagram and don't have time until later in the evenings, you log into YouTube and you get the full picture. So that's kind of what my plan is. And I'm brand new to this, so my production setup is not ideal. The sound might not be perfect, but bear with me. I'm kind of testing this out and seeing how it goes. And more importantly, on that same note of things being so short on Instagram or on social media, it's really hard for authenticity and genuineness to come across in those. And when I'm shopping for products, or looking for accounts to follow, especially when I'm relying on them for holistic health advice for my beloved dogs, I really want to know that I can trust this person. I want to see what they're about. I want to make sure their intentions and motivations are in the right place. So that's kind of what I want to achieve today. I want to jump right in with this video, kind of explaining who I am and why I'm here and why you should trust me to tell you what you should be doing with your dog, because we live in a world where there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of people that that are motivated by the wrong things. So I want to hopefully fairly quickly tell you my story of why I'm here. So I basically have a background in accounting and finance. I left the corporate world, coming up on 6 years ago maybe. And I've pursued some creative passions since then. And I feel like, and I don't mean this in like an overly confident or self-centered kind of way, but I just always felt like I was meant for something really big. Like no matter what I had done or found myself doing, just always had this feeling like I am meant to change the world. And of course that's really hard to do. So I'm wondering like how can I do that? When is that going to come about? Like show me the way. And fortunately, I do believe that God, as well as a lot of loved ones in my life, have finally shown me where I need to be. And that's right here, talking to you, helping dog parents, helping pet parents, because of all the things I've done in my life, dogs have always kind of been at the center of it. And it's never really been made clear to me until recently. Like that has kind of been the center of my existence, and I keep getting pushed back to them. And I've just found so much fulfillment out of this journey and learning about holistic health pet care and learning how to do better for dogs. Like I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I'm so passionate. I'm right now in the middle of getting certified in holistic pet health coaching. I plan to get certified in canine nutrition. So I just want all of the knowledge and I want to share it with all of you. So that's kind of where my head's at. And how I got to this place is that I started my holistic journey back in, I guess, May of last year, May of 2023. I had 2 Goldens. Unfortunately, one passed away recently, but I'll get to that. So in May of last year, I had 2 Goldens, and they were Skip and Ann. They were 7 and 11 years old. And up until around that time last year, I had been parenting them using mostly just conventional methods that we're all familiar with, that most dog parents still solely use today. So I was feeding them what I thought was the best food I could get, the $100+ bag of Royal Canine, no one knows how to say that, Royal Canine dog food. They ate kibble every morning, every night, every single day. I was a stickler for not giving them table scraps because food is bad for dogs, right? No, we'll learn more about that later. So yeah, feeding them kibble. They were current on their annual vaccinations because that is also so important for their health, right? And I'm being sarcastic, let me make that very clear. They're current on, I was very diligent about making sure they got their annual vaccinations. I was very diligent about making sure they got their monthly heartworm preventatives and their tri-monthly or every 3-month flea and tick preventative. I wasn't giving them filtered water, and I really wasn't doing anything to supplement their diet based on their needs for whatever illnesses they were prone to. And golden retrievers are really prone to cancer, so I really should have been focusing a lot on that, but I wasn't. Most of us just assume that we feed them the kibble, the best that we can afford. We get their vaccines, we make sure they have their flea and tick preventatives and heartworm preventatives, and they're good to go. That's being a good dog parent. So that's what I was doing for them up until May of last year. Anne was 11 years old again, and she started showing signs of slowing down a whole lot. And that ultimately led me to taking her to a new vet who was an hour and a half away from me, who was a DVM, but she also specialized in traditional Chinese veterinary medicine. She graduated from the Chi Institute in Florida. And that experience changed everything for me. She got me feeding both of my dogs fresh food. She performed monthly acupuncture treatments on Anne and just completely changed things for her. Turned everything around. I mean, turned back her biological clock several years. She has never looked better. It was amazing. I was so impressed by that, and also feeling guilty for not having done any of this sooner. But making the switch to their food and then slowly making other changes that I knew were best for them based on what I learned through reading and researching and from that vet and podcasts. It felt so good to finally be doing well for them. But at their age, they were both seniors, so I knew that it would take a lot, to undo all of the bad stuff I had been doing previously. I knew that we couldn't work a complete miracle, but I'd improved their life so significantly, even still changing what I did. Unfortunately, Anne was diagnosed with cancer in April of this year. So a little over five and a half months ago. Her breath was smelling really bad. I took a deep look inside of her mouth and noticed a mass at the base of her tongue, at the back of her tongue. And it's turned out it was oral cancer. When I took her to the vet, she saw it and immediately was like, it is cancer. The list of options are short if you don't want to do oncology. And of course, at her age, I opted out of that. I did not want to put her through surgery or chemo or radiation, nothing like that. So she sent me home with some herbs and some antibiotics, which I did not give her, and then left me to kind of figure it out on my own, which I don't blame her. She didn't have a lot of experience in cancer. So I spent all of my time just researching. I was devastated on the way home that day. I can remember calling my mom, and I have to thank her so much too for why I'm here, because I get so much of my open-mindedness and my passion for researching and finding truths from her. And on the way home from that vet appointment where we found out about Anne's cancer, she talked me off the ledge. I was devastated and crying and sad, and she reminded me that cancer is not a death sentence and that there are things that we can do. And she was so right. So that sent me researching and learning. I spent a couple weeks, just every spare second I got, I was just on my computer, on my phone, figuring out what I could do and learning about her cancer. I was hyper-focused on her. And fear set in shortly after that. I started worrying, like, what if it isn't cancer? We never biopsied it. I have strong feelings about messing with tumors if you don't have to, so I didn't want to biopsy it or fine needle aspirate it. Kind of wanted to leave it alone, but I still was like, gosh, what if it's not cancer? Or what if the oncologist can shed some light and give me some more hope? So I reached out one night in an hour of desperation to an oncology veterinary specialist in Charleston. I was just having so much fear and doubt. Unfortunately, by divine intervention, I swear, the next morning I listened to an episode of the Naturally Healthy Dog podcast, or Naturally Healthy Pet podcast by Dr. Judy Morgan, where she interviewed an amazing holistic vet named Dr. Judy Jasek. And I was so blown away by her whole viewpoint of cancer and treating cancer in dogs that it inspired me to immediately make an appointment with her and to forego all of my crazy thoughts about going to an oncology specialist. I just didn't even reply to them when they reached out to make an appointment. Oh, sorry, my camera cut me off. So So I made an appointment with Dr. Judy Jasek, and she was just incredible. The videos that she sent me, I learned a lot from just those videos alone and pre-appointment, and then I learned so much from her in the appointment. She is absolutely wonderful, and she helped me to put together an all-natural holistic protocol for treating Anne's cancer. So 5.5 months later, 5.5 months post-diagnosis, Anne is still here. She still has a very high quality of life. The tumor is growing but slowly, so there's a lot of hope for cancer patients, canine cancer patients, and human, or any animal really, if you just treat the whole body and help the immune system do what it's supposed to. So that's kind of what we're doing. It doesn't always put the cancer into remission or get rid of it entirely, but at a minimum, it can help. The minimum, they have a higher quality of life because they're not undergoing really harsh pharmaceutical treatments, but you can also slow the cancer. So that is what's happened in Anne's case, and she's still doing well, and I hope she sticks around for a lot longer. We need her. So hyper-focused on her for a while, and every summer we go out west, and we go spend a few weeks out in like Montana, Idaho, Colorado. So we were really worried about bringing her along and what that would look like, but we decided we weren't going to rob her of the opportunity to go and just enjoy herself. It is dog heaven out there. It's an escape from the hot weather here in the summer. So we were still going to bring her, knowing that we'd have some good days, some bad days, and potentially have to make a hard decision or two while we were out there. So we still took her along, and completely unexpectedly, our younger golden, Skip, had an emergency situation where we had to bring him to an emergency vet in New Mexico, in somewhere we'd never been. And long story short, he had a mass on his spleen that had ruptured and bled out slightly. They convinced us, kind of cornered us, caught us in a dark hour, full of fear, and we were just really scared, and ended up making the decision to let them do what they were suggesting, which was a splenectomy. So they removed his entire spleen along with the mass on his spleen, and he had to stay at the vet for 3 days. Fortunately, we drive a truck camper out west every summer, so we were able to just camp in the parking lot for those 3 days. But going through with that surgery never felt right. I mean, that's what we decided to do at the time, and that's a lot of what I want to cover on this journey, on this mission of mine, is helping you be better advocates and more confident in those types of situations and more ready. I wasn't. I mean, there's a lot of things I knew and my gut was telling me no, but I still let fear overtake me, and it is what it is. But that's part of a main driver behind my mission, is to help pet parents make better decisions and be more confident. So I went through the surgery, recovered in a couple of weeks. So about 3 weeks after the surgery, a week after the surgery, we got his pathology report back, and it was hemangiosarcoma that had metastasized, so it had already spread from his spleen to his liver. So basically that is one of the worst cancers in dogs. It is extremely aggressive, and usually the long-term prognosis is not good. 3 weeks later, we had another emergency situation where the cancer had already moved to his heart, so we had to undergo a very minimal procedure there to help keep him around a little longer. And that procedure was very unpredictable how long it would be before he would need that again. It could have been minutes, hours, days, weeks, years. Very scary. And that vet basically said that chances are he's just gonna go collapse one day. And that's ultimately what happened. We had been home from our big trip out west for not even 2 weeks. And fortunately, it was just so random that it was a weekend, and my husband and I were actually in the same place at the same time with Skip. And he was chasing his ball, got really weak, and just collapsed. And we rushed him to the nearest emergency vet, but unfortunately, he passed in my arms on the way to the vet, which was extremely hard and gut-wrenching, but thinking back, it's just the best way it could have been. Like, my husband and I were both with him. He passed in my arms, so I knew just how fast it was, that he wasn't suffering long. And also, had we made it there, in just the nick of time for him to get brought in. There's still going to be no time for that vet to have done anything for him, and he would have died, on a steel table with strangers around him. So it all worked out the best it could given the circumstances. But those Skip and Ann are my main reasons for being here. And sorry, just trying not to get emotional about all of this, but yeah, they're my main reasons. When Skip was passing, taking his last breaths, of course I was telling him how much I loved him, but I also just kept apologizing over and over, just telling him I'm so sorry, because there's so many things I could have done better, and of course I didn't know any better. So that's why I'm here helping all of you who are watching. I want to give you the opportunity to at least know how to do better. Because if you don't know better, you can't do better. And that's said a lot in this space. And it's so true, though. It really is. So, as soon as I knew how to do better, as soon as one vet told me, I made the changes. So if I could just impact one of you or two of you or three of you, it would just mean the world to me. It is my mission. I owe it to Skip and Ann. I told them I would do good in their name. And I look forward to sharing knowledge with you. And I'm glad I was able to get all that out without crying too hard. But I wanted y'all to know what a genuine place this comes from, and how you can trust me. And the research I'm doing and the things I'm telling you to do are the same things I would do for my own animals, given what I've gone through and what I now know and what I know is wrong and right. And sorry, I'm getting off topic because I got emotional, but thanks for listening to all of this. I promise things will get more organized and more professional as this goes along, but this is my intro video. I had to start somewhere, and I wanted to start with just telling you Skipper and Ann's story, and you and your dogs can thank them. Although their stories are having a little bit of a rough ending, they're amazing and have had some really great lives, and they've taught me a lot, and in turn I'm going to teach you a lot. So thanks for joining, and I look forward to bettering your animals' lives.